I guess a 11-page Jared Kushner document was dumped on your desk this morning?
Yeah, he says repeatedly, in his view, he did not do anything wrong. He says flat out, I did not collude, nor know of anyone else in the campaign who colluded with any foreign government. He says he had no improper contacts. Now, he goes through and details the meetings that we already knew about. So there was nothing new in this 11-page document that we didn't already have some information about. But interestingly to all of us is the defense that he's new to politics and that it wasn't his initial intent to play such a big influential role in his father's campaign seems to be his defense of like, hey, I'm not a politics guy, I'm a business guy. That doesn't necessarily give him much standing, I think, before the Senate Intelligence Committee, but we'll see how they respond to that today.
It also go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It also seems like he's saying that I didn't call any of these meetings. Every time I met with the Russians, they called the meetings. So
right.
It's their fault, not my fault.
Yeah, and, there's also an interesting, I didn't do anything wrong. This is very clear Jared Kushner defending himself. He's not going up there and speaking for the entire operation. Even that meeting at Trump Tower last summer that's getting so much attention, the one that Donald Trump Jr. set up, Jared Kushner is going to tell lawmakers today he got there late, he didn't know what the topic was, and he was so eager to get out of the meeting because he viewed it as a, quote, waste of time. He had his assistant call him, or he emailed the assistant to say, call me so I have an excuse to get out of this. That's an important thing because, one, he seems to be putting all of this on Donald Trump Jr. and certainly suggesting that when he was there, it was only about adoption. And if there was any conversation about Hillary Clinton damaging information or the campaign, he says, I got there late. That might have happened before.
Yeah, so this is a meeting today in closed door, right?
Yeah, he will not be under oath. We will not see him. Now, we might hear from him afterwards, but we will not have a camera, in that room when he's taking questions.
Right.
And he does this tomorrow before the House Intelligence Committee. And then the question is, what's next? You have Adam Schiff, the top Democrat on the Intel Committee, saying, yeah, there's a lot of ground to cover. We think there'll be more interviews. The White House over the weekend says he doesn't have that much more to say. This is it. He will go and do these conversations, and then it's time for him to move on.
All right. Now, that's one side of the story. The other story over the weekend is the sanctions. The House and the Senate agreed to a bill on sanctions, and then Donald Trump tweets out this morning that he's upset with Republicans. Is there a connection between the sanctions bill and his tweet?
The White House was certainly sending some mixed messages over the weekend about what the president's going to do. I would say right now it's assumed he would sign it because Sarah Sanders, the press secretary, says that the White House supports the legislation where it is right now, but will continue to work with the House and Senate. Then you have the new communications director saying, no, the president hasn't made a decision yet on signing this bill. If the president does not, it could cause even more political headaches for him on Russia, and it would likely be overturned by Congress. Because this is going to pass so overwhelmingly with bipartisan support. This also is interesting because part of this sanctions bill would limit the president's authority to lift or suspend the sanctions, which is what the White House has been frustrated by. And that's really an incredible move by this Republican Congress, kind of tying his hand behind his back. The White House is saying the president should have flexibility to adjust sanctions. But, we've talked about this. It's Republicans on the Hill who really want this White House to get tougher on Russia.
Yeah, no, and this isn't getting a lot of attention, but it's sort of an offshoot of all this. Not only is it bipartisan support, but it's bipartisan support as well as bicameral support. Both the House and the Senate and Democrats and Republicans are all on page.
And, in this era of political everything, like when was the last time we really saw something like that? That says a big, strong signal to this White House.
Right. Any idea how long before he has to sign this? How long does he have to sign it? Does he not have to sign it?
No, we'll look at the House to pass this possibly tomorrow, and then maybe get it to the president before they go on August recess. So this is something that could be out there floating for the next week or two, or the White House could just immediately get to it.
Senator Roy Blunt's going to join us a little bit later on in the morning to talk about this as well as other things. But Karen Travers, we'll let you go. Thanks for checking in.
Have a great day.
Karen Travers, ABC News, White House.